So let's first talk about the context in which we sit. All transportation improvements, all transportation projects really are somewhere, and they have a multiple purpose. They are to move goods and services and people from here to there, but they also provide, in each place that they are, a sense of the community in which they sit. And you must look at the context in which you are working so that you get a good idea of the culture and the design aesthetic and the what can I say, the ambiance of the site and the location, so that your project fits in with the context in that you're working. If you know the context because you're from there, that's a great advantage you have. If you don't know the context, then you have to ask the context. You ask people, what's it like around here? You can go observe and you can go take a look, but you really want to go start some consensus building on what really is the common culture, the common aesthetic that you would like to incorporate ultimately into the project. And the context in which any project sits involves how it sits in the land, on the land, throughout the land, and then you can look at the specific appurtenances that you would add to that project once you've devised where it's going to sit in spatially within the context of the area you're working. So we look at everything. You want to look at the horizontal and vertical alignment of a project. You want to look at whether if it's a bridge, you're looking at structure types. You want to take a look at everything from the ground up. What kind of abutments are you using? What kind of substructure and superstructure are you using? You want to take a look at parapets or bridge rails. You want to take a look at lighting. You want to take a look at retaining walls, noise walls, abutment faces. All these are elements that you can speak to the context in which you're sitting. And if you take a look at the context and you understand where you are, then it will inform your decisions on how to treat them architecturally once those contexts have been identified and agreed to by all the stakeholders, and you then can move on to the specifics of the design. There we are fitting a 4-lane freeway through a historic neighborhood to make a missing link connection on Route 21, which is a state highway. And to fit in with the context in which we sat, we did a pretty close analysis of the kinds of buildings that the neighborhood, in the neighborhood in which this road would be cutting right through. We took a look at the neighborhoods themselves, and we didn't want to disrupt them. We wanted to make sure that there was still connectiveness between where it would now become one side of the highway to the other. You want to take a look at the colors, you want to take a look at the heights, you want to look at the masses of things. And we wound up designing a project that had, for instance, one of the major retaining walls that we developed looks exactly like a historic woolen factory that was a quarter-mile down the street. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. We took our cues from its architectural treatments and its design. We applied them as was appropriate to this retaining wall, so it looks like yet another factory in this historic neighborhood, only instead of having a roof, it's got a road on top. And if you squinted your eyes and you didn't really see the cars up there, you would think it was just another building. But in fact, it's a retaining wall for a highway project. Those kinds of things really need to be addressed so that your project fits in and doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Another one was we just reconstructed a chunk of the BQE in Queens, Brooklyn-Queens Expressway. And there, it was a reconstruction. The Route 21 was a new road, but the BQE was a reconstruction of a road that was there with new elements to it. So for this one, we really wanted to make sure that the road fit in with what the BQE looked like to the north and the south of it. We weren't going to come up with a new aesthetic for the BQE's treatments for the walls and the bridges and the pier columns and parapets and stuff. We really wanted to make it look like it spoke BQE. And so we went and looked at all the BQE around it and of the part that we would be reconstructing, and developed a palette of materials and colors and shapes and styles that was very much in the vernacular of the BQE that is immediately adjacent to the north and south. So there we wanted to be fitting in, but look like it was freshly developed, but certainly not in any way stick out or cause any draw any undue attention to what we just did. What should really speak is the new alignment that we helped the road with, so it was easier to drive and safer, and it was a road that would look like a brand new 50-year-old road.